tenuous link with Lincoln Castle, but this is a small piece of the very first Elenor cross. And if you know about the story of the Elenor crosses, Elenor of Castile was the young queen, Edward I. And they were betrothed as arranged marriages in those days. So this young 11-year-old princess from Spain and the 14-year-old future king from England were betrothed at this very early age, before they'd even met each other. And you know, that was the way of the world in those days, two royal families coming together. But the good news is that they liked each other and they actually fell in love. The evidence of that is that she had 16 children. That's good evidence, is it, that they were in love? Maybe not. But more powerful evidence was that she travelled everywhere with him. She went on crusade with him. She travelled around the country with him. They really did like being together. So that was a nice love story, and he loved her back in return. So when she died suddenly on another visit to Lincoln, they'd been twice, they came to open the Angel Choir, which is the very large area at the back of the cathedral. In 1290, they were both near Lincoln. She was off at a priory in Harby, a few miles away. He was here in Lincoln. She died suddenly. She was 47, which was quite an age in the medieval times. He was grief-stricken. He said, "We must do our best for Elenor." And he said, "We'll bury her." Well, the innards they took out, the viscera, and they buried them in a tomb in Lincoln Castle. So you can see the innards of Elenor of Castile, if you like, a marvellous tomb at the back of the cathedral. They took out the heart and put that in a box, ready to go down to London, and the rest of the body was embalmed at St Catherine's Priory at the bottom of the hill in Lincoln. And that's where the remains of this Elenor cross was found. Edward said that we'll build an Elenor cross every time the cortege stops. So it's a long journey. It took them 12 days or 12 nights, all the way down to London, because it was the winter and they had to go certain routes, and they wanted to stop at places where she was known. So they went down through Northamptonshire. The route is there, and you can see what an Elenor cross really looks like. Fantastic, 20 or 30 foot. Anyone been to Charing Cross station? You come out of Charing Cross and there's one. It's all covered in plastic. I was down there last week, what a shame. But I'm sure they'll just refurbish it. It's not an original one. Geddington's got an original one in Northampton, and Hardingstone as well. Waltham Cross has got a lovely replica. So there were 12 of them, and they show Edward's devotion to his wife. And this is just a little bit left, because most of them were destroyed. The two big destroyers, Henry VIII during the Reformation, Cromwell during his interregnum in the 1640s and 50s. So they destroyed a lot of this religious artifacts. This is just a little bit that's left, but it does help us to make the link back to those two loving people. In fact, Edward loved her so much that just a few months after his death, he married again and had 4 more children. So that was a good ending, really. Anyway, I suppose that was his job in those days, to safeguard the future of the country. Well, I shall end here. Let me just tell you what's still to do. Unfortunately, you can't climb that tower because of the damage, but you can go back where we walked and walk all the way around and have a good look over Nottinghamshire. Back down the dungeon, if you're brave enough to go into the cells underneath. But in the building behind you,